Please don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more English story. Dare to change. Elon was a dreamer. A young man with a head full of ideas but a heart weighed down by fear. Born into a modest family in a quiet village, he spent most of his days helping his father with farm work. Though he longed for something more, a life filled with purpose, adventure, and meaning, he was too afraid to take a step forward. Elon's closest friend, Danish, was the opposite. Bold and adventurous, Danish had always encouraged Elon to take risks. "You're wasting your talent," Danish would say. "If you want a different life, you have to dare to change." But Elon would always reply, "What if I fail? What if I'm not good enough?" Years passed, and the gap between the friends grew. Danish left the village to study in the city, while Elon stayed behind, trapped in the familiarity of his routine. A catalyst for change. One fateful evening, Danish returned to the village for a visit. He found Elon sitting under a tree, staring at the horizon. "Elon," Danish said, sitting down beside him, "you're still dreaming, aren't you?" Elon nodded. "Every night, I imagine myself in the city, working on something meaningful, creating a better life for myself. But then I wake up, and nothing changes." Danish sighed. "Dreams without action are just wishes, my friend. You have to be willing to take a leap." Elon looked at Danish, frustration and longing mixing in his eyes. "It's not that simple. I don't have your courage." Danish placed a hand on his friend's shoulder. "Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's moving forward despite it. What's stopping you from trying?" Elon didn't answer. Deep down, he knew Danish was right. But fear had built an invisible wall around him. The wake-up call. One morning, tragedy struck the village. A sudden storm destroyed several farms, including Elon's. His family was left with little to rebuild, and for the first time, Elon realized the cost of staying stagnant. As he stood among the ruins of the only life he had ever known, something inside him shifted. Fear still lingered, but a new determination began to grow. When Danish visited the next day, Elon looked him in the eye and said, "You're right. I've been waiting for change to come to me. But it's time I went to it." Danish's face lit up with a proud smile. "That's the spirit. What's your plan?" "I don't know yet," Elon admitted. "But I'm ready to start." The leap of faith. With Danish's encouragement, Elon packed his few belongings and left for the city. The journey was daunting. He had no job lined up, no clear direction. But for the first time, Elon felt alive. The city was overwhelming at first. The noise, the crowds, and the fast pace were nothing like the quiet life he had known. But Elon reminded himself of Danish's words. Courage is moving forward despite fear. He began working odd jobs, saving money, and learning new skills. Slowly, he built a network of friends and mentors who saw potential in him. One of them, a kind shop owner named Mrs. Lin, gave Elon a chance to manage her small store. "Why are you helping me?" Elon asked one day. "Because I see a spark in you," Mrs. Lin replied. All you needed was a chance, and the courage to take it. Transforming fear into fuel. As the months turned into years, Elon grew in confidence. He started taking courses in business management and eventually saved enough to open his own shop. The boy who had once been paralyzed by fear was now an entrepreneur, inspiring others with his journey. But Elon's greatest achievement wasn't the shop or his success. It was his ability to overcome his fears. He began sharing his story with others, speaking at community events and mentoring young people who felt stuck like he once had. Change is never easy, Elon would tell them. But the pain of staying the same is far worse. Dare to change, and you'll discover a strength you never knew you had. A legacy of courage. Years later, Elon returned to the village for a visit. He found Danish sitting under the same tree where they had shared so many conversations. "You've come full circle," Danish said, smiling. Elon nodded. "And it all started because you pushed me to believe in myself." "Thank you." Danish laughed. "Don't thank me. You're the one who dared to change." As they sat together, watching the sun set over the horizon, Elon felt a deep sense of fulfillment. He had faced his fears, embraced change, and built a life filled with purpose. Moral of the story: change is never easy, but it's the only way to grow. Fear will always be there, but it doesn't have to control you. By daring to take the first step, you open the door to endless possibilities and inspire others to do the same. Part 2. The struggles of change. Elon's move to the city was the most significant decision he had ever made. But it wasn't without its challenges. The transition from the calm, familiar life of his village to the fast-paced, chaotic city was overwhelming. The first weeks, Elon spent his first nights in a small, noisy dormitory shared with other workers. The mattress was thin. The room smelled of damp clothes, and the constant hum of traffic outside made it difficult to sleep. Each morning, he woke up with aching muscles from the labor jobs he had taken to make ends meet. There were days when Elon wondered if he had made a mistake. The city felt cold and unwelcoming. and he missed the simplicity of village life. But every time doubt crept in, he remembered the storm that had destroyed his farm and Danish's words. Dreams without action are just wishes. I chose this path. He would remind himself. I have to see it through. The first lesson. One day, while delivering goods for a local market, Elon accidentally dropped a box of fragile items. Glass shattered across the pavement, and the shopkeeper he was working for scolded him in front of the customers. "You're too clumsy for this job." The shopkeeper barked. Elon felt humiliated. He walked away with his head down, his heart heavy with self-doubt. He sat on a park bench, replaying the incident in his mind. Maybe I'm not cut out for this life. Maybe I should just go back home. But then, a little boy playing nearby caught his attention. The boy was trying to fly a kite, but every time he tossed it into the air, it fell to the ground. After several failed attempts, the boy looked at the kite, tightened the string, and tried again. This time, the kite soared. Elon smiled, realizing the lesson before him. Failure is part of the process. He thought, I can't let one mistake stop me. A helping hand. Elon decided to seek advice from those who had been in his position before. He found a small community center where locals gathered for workshops and networking events. There, he met Mrs. Lin, the kind shop owner who would later give him a chance to manage her store. Mrs. Lin listened to Elon's story and saw his potential. Everyone struggles when they first come to the city, she said. The ones who succeed are the ones who learn from their failures and keep going. She offered him a part-time job at her store, where he could earn a steady income while learning valuable skills. Building discipline. Working at Mrs. Lin's store taught Elon the importance of discipline and focus. He started keeping a journal, where he wrote down his goals and tracked his progress. His routine became structured. Early mornings were for reading and self-improvement. Daytime was spent working at the store and interacting with customers. Evenings were for attending business classes and networking events. The structure gave him a sense of control and purpose. Slowly but surely, Elon began to see progress, not just in his skills but in his mindset. Facing the fear. One day, Mrs. Lin asked Elon to present a new product line to her customers during a busy weekend sale. The thought of speaking in front of a crowd terrified him. His hands trembled at the mere idea of standing in front of so many people. I can't do it, Elon told Mrs. Lin. She smiled kindly. Elon, fear is natural. But if you let it control you, you'll never grow. Trust yourself. You're ready for this. Encouraged by her words, Elon practiced his presentation every night. When the day came, he stood before the customers, his voice shaky at first. But as he spoke, he found his rhythm. By the end of the presentation, the audience was clapping, and Mrs. Lin beamed with pride. That wasn't so bad, Elon thought, a smile spreading across his face. The turning point. That moment marked a turning point for Elon. He began seeking out more opportunities to challenge himself, whether it was learning a new skill, speaking to strangers, or taking risks in his work. Each step pushed him further out of his comfort zone and closer to the life he had always dreamed of. He started making friends with other young professionals who shared his ambitions. Together, they exchanged ideas, supported one another, and celebrated each other's victories. Elon's confidence grew, and with it, his vision for the future became clearer. He no longer felt like the timid boy from the village. He was becoming someone who could face his fears, adapt to change, and build a life of purpose. Moral of Part 2. Change is never easy, but growth lies in embracing challenges and learning from setbacks. With determination and the right support, even the most daunting obstacles can be overcome. Part 3. Rising above the struggle. Months turned into a year, and Elon's life began to change in ways he could never have imagined. With every small victory, he gained confidence and clarity about his path. But the journey was far from smooth. The city tested him at every step, and Elon had to learn how to navigate its complexities while holding on to his dreams. The power of persistence. Elon's work at Mrs. Lin's store became more demanding as the business expanded. He often found himself managing tasks he had never done before, such as inventory management, negotiating with suppliers, and dealing with difficult customers. One day, a shipment of goods was delayed, and several customers complained loudly in the store. Elon felt the pressure mounting. He wanted to quit, to escape the chaos. But Mrs. Lin's words echoed in his mind. Fear is natural, but growth comes when you face it head-on. Elon took a deep breath, apologized to the customers, and worked late into the night to resolve the issue. By the next day, everything was back on track. The experience taught him an important lesson. Challenges are opportunities in disguise. A spark of inspiration. During one of his business classes, Elon learned about entrepreneurship. The instructor spoke passionately about creating value and building something meaningful from scratch. The idea resonated deeply with Elon. That night, he couldn't sleep. He thought about his village and how he could help people there. He remembered the storm that had destroyed his family's farm and wondered if he could create a business that would provide stability for families like his own. The next day, Elon shared his thoughts with Danish, who had been following Elon's progress closely. I want to start a business, Elon said, his voice filled with determination. But I don't know where to begin. Danish smiled. That's the first step, having a vision. Now you need a plan. Start small. Learn as you go. And don't be afraid to fail. The birth of an idea. Elon began researching markets and business models during his free time. He noticed a growing demand for handmade, sustainable products in the city. Inspired by his village roots, he decided to create a line of eco-friendly home goods, made from natural materials like bamboo and rattan. He pitched the idea to Mrs. Lin, who offered to let him test his products in her store. If they sell, you'll know you're onto something, she said. Elon spent weeks crafting the products, working late into the night after his shifts at the store. When the items finally hit the shelves, he was nervous but hopeful. To his surprise, the products sold out within days. Customers loved the unique, sustainable designs and began placing custom orders. The struggle to expand. With the initial success of his products, Elon faced a new challenge: scaling his business. He didn't have the resources to produce large quantities, and he didn't want to compromise on quality. He reached out to artisans in nearby villages, offering to partner with them. Together, they could create more products while supporting their communities. The artisans were hesitant at first, but Elon's passion and sincerity won them over. As the business grew, Elon reinvested his earnings into better tools, training programs for the artisans, and marketing efforts. He also started attending trade fairs, where he met potential investors and buyers. Overcoming doubt. Despite his progress, Elon often doubted himself. What if this all falls apart? He would think. What if I'm not good enough to lead? One evening, Danish visited him at his small workshop. Seeing Elon's exhaustion, Danish said, "You've come so far, Elon. Don't let self-doubt hold you back now. Remember, you dared to change when it seemed impossible. That courage is your greatest strength." Elon nodded, realizing that the fear of failure would always be there. But he had learned to use it as motivation rather than a barrier. Recognition and gratitude. Elon's business began to gain recognition. Local newspapers featured his story, highlighting how he had turned his dream into a reality while empowering rural artisans. Orders poured in from across the city, and soon, he was shipping products to other regions as well. One day, as Elon walked through his workshop, watching the artisans work and hearing their laughter, he felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude. He thought about the boy he used to be, the boy who was too afraid to take a chance. If I hadn't dared to change, Elon reflected, none of this would exist. Giving back. Elon didn't forget his roots. He started a program to support young people in his village, offering them training and opportunities to work in his business. He also funded educational initiatives, ensuring that children had access to the resources he had once lacked. When he visited the village, he was no longer the timid boy who sat under the tree dreaming of a better life. He was now a role model, a source of inspiration for others who felt trapped by their circumstances. Moral of Part 3. The journey of change is filled with challenges, but persistence, vision, and the willingness to learn can turn dreams into reality. By daring to grow, you not only transform your life but also create opportunities for others to thrive. Part 4. Building a legacy. Elon's journey from a fearful dreamer to a successful entrepreneur continued to inspire those around him. His business wasn't just about selling products, it became a platform for change, innovation, and hope. But with every milestone he achieved, new challenges arose, testing his resolve and leadership. The challenges of growth. As Elon's business expanded, he faced mounting responsibilities, managing partnerships with rural artisans, overseeing production, handling finances, and meeting increasing customer demands began to take a toll on him. One day, an international order worth thousands of dollars was delayed due to logistical issues. The client was furious, threatening to cancel the contract and damage Elon's reputation. Elon spent sleepless nights trying to resolve the issue. He coordinated with suppliers, expedited shipping processes, and personally communicated with the client to explain the situation. Eventually, the order was delivered, and the client was impressed by Elon's dedication. The experience taught him a valuable lesson. Growth requires resilience, adaptability, and a calm mind under pressure. Expanding the vision. Realizing the need for better infrastructure. Elon invested in a larger workshop and modern equipment. He also hired a small team to help him manage the business, including marketing specialists, production managers, and financial advisors. To maintain the authenticity of his products, Elon implemented strict quality control measures and continued working closely with the artisans. Our story is what makes us unique, he reminded his team. We're not just selling products, we're sharing our values. Finding balance. As his business grew, Elon struggled to find balance. He worked long hours, often neglecting his health and personal life. Danish noticed this during one of his visits. Elon, you've accomplished so much, Danish said. But you can't pour from an empty cup. Take care of yourself, or you won't be able to sustain this success. Elon nodded, realizing the truth in his friend's words. He started prioritizing self-care, setting boundaries, and delegating tasks to his team. By finding balance, he became a more effective leader and a happier person. Recognition on a larger scale. Elon's business caught the attention of a national entrepreneurship program that recognized innovators making a social impact. He was invited to speak at a conference in the capital city, where he shared his story with hundreds of aspiring entrepreneurs. Standing on stage, Elon felt a mix of nerves and pride. Change is scary, he told the audience. But the fear of staying the same is far worse. I'm proof that even the smallest steps can lead to incredible journeys. Dare to believe in yourself, and the world will believe in you too. His speech received a standing ovation, and several investors expressed interest in supporting his business. Giving back to the community. With his newfound success, Elon focused on giving back to the community that had shaped him. He established a scholarship fund for children in his village, ensuring they had access to education and opportunities he had once dreamed of. He also started workshops to teach rural families about sustainable farming and business practices, empowering them to create their own sources of income. Elon, one villager said during a community gathering, "You've shown us that it's possible to rise above our circumstances. You've given us hope." Hearing those words brought tears to Elon's eyes. He realized that his journey wasn't just about his own growth, it was about creating a ripple effect of change. Facing new challenges, despite his achievements, Elon remained grounded. He knew that success wasn't permanent and that challenges would continue to arise. The global market was becoming more competitive, and he needed to innovate constantly to stay relevant. He decided to diversify his business, introducing new product lines and collaborating with designers to create modern, eco-friendly items. His willingness to adapt kept his business thriving while staying true to its roots. A full circle moment. Years later, Elon returned to the village for a special event. The villagers had organized a celebration to honor his contributions and the positive impact he had made on their lives. As he stood in front of the crowd, Elon spotted his parents, Mrs. Lin, and Danish smiling proudly. "I wouldn't be here without all of you," Elon said, his voice filled with emotion. "Your support, guidance, and belief in me gave me the strength to take the first step. This journey isn't just mine, it's ours." The celebration was a moment of reflection and gratitude. Elon realized that the boy who had once feared change had become a man who embraced it, inspiring others to do the same. Moral of Part 4. True success isn't just about personal achievement, it's about creating a positive impact on the lives of others. By daring to change and staying true to your values, you can build a legacy that inspires future generations. Part 5. The Legacy of Change. Years passed, and Elon's name became synonymous with resilience, vision, and transformation. From a simple dream in his village to an empire built on hope and sustainability, his journey was a testament to the power of daring to change. But as Elon reflected on his life, he realized that his story was far from over. Facing new horizons. One day, Elon received an invitation to speak at an international conference on sustainable business practices. Leaders, entrepreneurs, and innovators from around the world would be attending. Danish, who had become a close confidant and business advisor, encouraged him to accept. This is your chance to show the world what's possible when you believe in yourself and your community, he said. Elon felt a familiar wave of doubt. The little boy who once feared the unknown still existed within him. But he reminded himself of the lessons he had learned. Fear is a natural part of growth. Standing on the stage in a foreign land, Elon began his speech. He shared his journey. From the village boy who feared failure to the entrepreneur who turned challenges into opportunities. My story is proof that change isn't easy, he said. But it's worth it. When you dare to step out of your comfort zone, you not only transform your own life, but also create opportunities for others to grow. His words resonated deeply, and the audience gave him a standing ovation. Leaders approached him afterward, eager to collaborate and learn from his experiences. Empowering the next generation. With his newfound global platform, Elon launched an initiative called Dare to Dream, a program designed to empower young entrepreneurs in underserved communities. The initiative provided seed funding for small businesses, mentorship programs with successful entrepreneurs, workshops on sustainable business practices. Elon visited schools, community centers, and rural villages, sharing his story and encouraging young people to take control of their futures. He reminded them, your circumstances don't define you. Your choices do. Personal growth and reflection. As his professional life flourished, Elon also focused on his personal growth. He spent more time with his family, ensuring they were part of his journey. His parents, once skeptical of his decision to leave the village, now beamed with pride every time they heard his name mentioned. He also rekindled his connection with nature, spending weekends in his village to recharge. Walking through the fields and listening to the rustling leaves reminded him of where he came from and why he started this journey. Danish, ever the voice of wisdom, once said, "You've built something incredible, Elon." But never forget that the simplest joys often bring the greatest peace. Elon took those words to heart, striving to balance his ambition with gratitude for the present. Challenges on a global scale. As Elon's influence grew, so did the challenges. Competing with multinational corporations, navigating fluctuating markets, and maintaining ethical practices in a rapidly changing world required constant innovation. But Elon welcomed these challenges. Every obstacle is a chance to learn. He often said, "If I've made it this far, I can keep moving forward." He collaborated with international designers, introduced cutting-edge technology to his production processes, and even explored sustainable energy solutions to power his workshops. His business became a model for ethical and sustainable practices, inspiring others to prioritize purpose over profit. Final return. On the 10th anniversary of his business, Elon returned to his village for a special celebration. The villagers had organized a massive gathering to honor his contributions and the impact of his work. Standing under the same tree where he once dreamed of a better life, Elon addressed the crowd. This tree has witnessed my fears, my dreams, and my growth, he said. But everything I've accomplished started here, with the belief that change is possible. He looked at the young faces in the crowd and said, "Don't let fear stop you. Don't let failures define you. The world is waiting for your courage, your ideas, and your strength. Dare to change, and you'll change the world." The crowd erupted in applause, and tears filled Elon's eyes. In that moment, he felt complete, a life lived with purpose and shared with others. The legacy lives on. Elon's story continued to inspire people far and wide. His business thrived. His initiatives empowered countless lives, and his message echoed through generations. He often said, "Daring to change isn't just a decision, it's a way of life. It's about embracing the unknown, learning from failures, and believing in the power of your dreams." And so, Elon's legacy lived on, not just in the products he created or the businesses he built, but in the hearts of those who dared to change because of his example. Moral of Part 5. True change begins with courage, grows with perseverance, and flourishes when shared. By daring to dream and act, you create a legacy that inspires others to believe in their own potential. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed the story. If you did, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you won't miss any future stories. I'd love to see you back here for more. Take care. And until next time, keep smiling and stay kind. I'm so glad you spent this time with me. If you liked the story, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more. Take care. And see you next time.